I was looking up guides to resin cast buttons for my modded Game Boy Color the other day and figured, why not take a shot with ChatGPT? Like it or not, ChatGPT is actually very helpful with such tasks, and today we are testing the limits on how helpful it really could be for my needs. I am Paul, this is my little mod shop, and let's dive right in. So just a quick disclaimer, we are using Microsoft's Bing for our little research today, as it is based on the latest ChatGPT 4 model and claims to be optimized for searching stuff. So let's give it a shot. So first up, Microsoft Edge. Alright, ask me something. I need to throw a dinner party for 6 people who are vegetarian. Can you suggest a 3-course menu with a chocolate dessert? Nope. We need to resin cast some buttons today. And there it is, ask me anything. I want to cast some resin buttons for my Game Boy Color. Okay, searching for how to cast epoxy resin for Game Boy Color. So it's searching for entries on Google or Bing, I guess. Okay, to cast epoxy resin buttons for your Game Boy Color, you will need following items: epoxy resin, which is good because we need the resin, a silicone mold, pigment or a dye, mixing cups, steering sticks, and gloves. Okay, so that's pretty basic, I guess. Can you get in more detail? Wow, it's just always you can use any type, you can use any type, you can use any type, you can use any type. Good one. I hope this helps. Let me know if you have any other questions. Well, I have a lot of questions. There are some suggestions already made for me. Let's have a look. What is a 2-part silicone mold making kit first? A 2-part silicone mold making kit is a kit that contains 2 parts of silicone. Okay, the 2 parts are usually labeled A and B and mixed together in equal parts by volume or weight. That's not true for every kit, I guess. Once mixed together, the silicone cures to form a flexible mold that can be used to cast a variety of materials, including epoxy resin. Alright, now I know what a mold basically is. Wipe that and start from new. Can you make me a detailed step-by-step guide on how to cast resin buttons? I think that's more defining on what I really want from ChatGPT. Sure, here are some steps. First, you need to create a mold for your buttons. Alright, you can use a 2-part silicone mold for this purpose. Finally, attach your resin buttons to your Game Boy. Just attach it. Just attach it. Here's a video tutorial that might help you out as well. Oh, that's nice. It suggested me a video from Esoteric Sean. There are some from North Gaming Supply, which are basically like the Bible on how to cast buttons, I guess. Yeah, sweet stuff. Okay, actually I don't want to look at the video, I want some more and detailed answers from ChatGPT. So let's try another round with, let's have a look what he's doing now. Okay, now he goes in more detail with that. To create a 2-part silicone mold, you need to create a positive of your buttons first. Okay, you can use an existing button or create one out of clay, which makes sense, I guess. Repeat this process with another layer of silicone to create the second half of your mold. Once you have your mold ready, mix your resin according to the manufacturer's instructions. Make sure to mix the resin thoroughly and once the resin has cured. Okay, but it simply misses some steps. So ChatGPT actually gave me more detail on each and every step he prompted me before, but actually I was looking for more of tips and things to do to make your mold better. Vacuuming resin before pouring can help remove any air bubbles that may be trapped in the resin. And what about pressure casting? Pressure casting can help reduce the number of air bubbles that may be trapped in resin and can help ensure that your buttons are smooth and free of imperfections. For fast-curing resin such as Lumilite or Lumilite Clear, slow pressure cast is recommended to reduce the chances of visible air bubbles being trapped in the resin as it cures. I would say it may be necessary to at least vacuum your resin for casting buttons, because the holes and the parts you are casting is such small and delicate that there is no way around it to just vacuum it to make sure that there are no bubbles in it. You can get away with just vacuum it, but putting everything in a pressure pot with at least 30 psi or something might be necessary for good buttons. So let's ask ChatGPT for some other tips and tricks for casting buttons. Sure, here are some tips and tricks for epoxy casting. Bubbles go high, so dispense low. Before dispensing CCR resin and hardener, puncture a hole near the bottom of the mixing container and seal it with a piece of tape. This is actually a really good tip and should be done like every time you have the chance to. If you see bubbles near the surface of your uncured epoxy resin, flame treat them with a propane torch. Well, that's another good tip, I guess, but not for 2-part molds, which I am not specifically asked for, so that's a good tip, I guess, there. Spraying a fine mist of denatured alcohol over the surface will pop air bubbles as well as lower the viscosity of your resin. I actually didn't know about that one. Oh, I just accidentally typed A. So it makes epoxy casting mistakes. What? Okay, where you got that one? Here's some common mistakes when working with epoxy resin. Okay, but yeah, he suggested me some good stuff here. So inaccurate measuring, undermixing, cold temperatures, not testing first, not prepping a work, adding too much colorant, letting resin sit too long after mixing, allowing dust in your resin. Yeah, you should definitely avoid some of those, if not all. How do I fix inaccurate measuring? Always measure art resin in precisely equal amounts. Well, the problem is I already measured wrong, so what do I do when I measured wrong? So all these things should be done before you actually start mixing, which ChatGPT is right about. But what if I accidentally didn't mix part A and B the right amount? So let's ask about that one. If you have undermixed your epoxy resin, you can try and mix it again with another batch of resin and hardener, and you can also try to apply more than one layer of epoxy. Well, it basically says just throw it in the trash and start from new, I guess. So now let's get a definitive guide from ChatGPT and use it to really cast the buttons I was looking for. How to make buttons out of resin. To make buttons out of resin, you will need to mix resin and hardener in a 1:1 ratio according to the instructions of the resin you purchase. You can then color the resin with any color you like. Fill the molds with the colored resin and let it cure. Once cured, you can remove the buttons from the molds and use them as desired. So this is the highly definitive and very detailed guide on making buttons out of resin from ChatGPT 4. Yeah, I might use this guide now to actually make some buttons. So let's dive right in. As you can see, ChatGPT is actually good in suggesting things and to do some research, but really using it as a definitive state of things, it may has a long way to go. So take these answers always with a grain of salt, I guess. I hope that you enjoyed our little ride in the world of ChatGPT, and I hope it helps you putting things into context when it comes to assisting with such tasks like resin casting. And the last thing to know, what are you using ChatGPT for, or are you avoiding it at all costs? Let me know in the comments down below. I'm Paul, this is my little mod shop, and I'm looking forward to the next one. Bye for now.